Hi cozy friends, and welcome to a new project vlog. If you are new here, my name is Morgan and I love to unravel my anxious mind with my cozy hobbies, mostly reading and knitting. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, grab a cup of something cozy and a project and let's unravel. It's about to be a new year, so it's time for a little new project. And if you are not new here, you're wondering, what about the Jenny jacket? Didn't you just cast that on as a Christmas cast on? And yes, I did, but I need a stockinette whip. So we are going to be knitting the caramel sweater by Petiteknit. I resisted most of the Black Friday sales going on. However, Knitpicks did a return of their Black Friday sale a few days after, and my husband had mentioned he really would like a matching winter set, so I was perusing and thinking about getting him some yarn. While we've been living abroad here in Australia, which we've been here for about 9 or 10 months, if I do place a Knitpicks order, I make sure to reach that free shipping cutoff of 120 Australian dollars. So I wanted to get a sweater's quantity for myself if I was ordering him some yarn. And as I said, I ordered this at the beginning of December and the box showed up today. It is a couple days after Christmas and I wasn't expecting to get this quickly because of all the Christmas shipping things going on. And I went to take my trash out and the box was sitting on my doorstep. Let's talk about the yarn. First, I'm going to talk about my husband's winter set. I got Morocco Vintage DK in the color Dark Denim. It is a beautiful navy blue color. I think he is going to love it. It's funny because for a few years of him being in the Navy, he kind of turned against the color navy blue. He was like so tired of it being like everything, but now he's like revisiting. So I'm going to be keeping my eye out for the perfect patterns. These are each 100 grams and there are 290 yards or 266 meters in each hank. So I think I got more than enough for a set of a scarf, hat, and mitten, which you've probably seen me chronicling in the knitting podcast. If you don't already watch that, I will have it linked down in the description, but we have a lot of fun talking about project updates there. But let's stay on track with talking about the caramel sweater in this vlog. The yarn I picked up for this sweater is Knitpicks Gloss DK in the color Harvest. This yarn is 70% merino wool and 30% silk. It is so soft and luxurious and I'm so excited to knit with it. This is a DK weight yarn with 123 yards in every 50 grams, and I got 12 balls of this to be able to make the caramel sweater. The caramel was already in my stash library and I have already swatched. I got so excited when this showed up at my doorstep because I was really itching to cast on something simple, something just stockinette. I just really love the look of this. My husband's cardigan is like one of the only things that's stockinette that I've worked on this year besides the cumulus blouse. And it's really nice to have something stockinette on the needles and to just kind of mindlessly work on a easy project. As a beginner knitter, my mindset has always been like growing with each project, learning so much from every project. And I really just want to allow myself some mindless knitting in 2025. I want to allow myself some easy breezy knits that kind of fly off the needles and just bring me so much comfort that don't have to be like me referencing a chart for every row. So I did swatch with this yarn in the recommended 4mm needle. And I was able to meet gauge and I was able to also use my brand new blocking mats that my husband came through with on Christmas. He got me a blocking mat set as well as the needles and I am so excited. I am blocking everything in our house right now. I blocked his socks. I'm blocking my ranunculus right now. It's still drying, but it's out in the Aussie summer sun, so I am sure that it will be dry by the time we're done talking. Being able to pin my swatch flat was such a treat and I'm just really happy to be finally having all the tools I need to be a real knitter. We are graduating from beginner knitter with the end of 2024 and I am stepping into my role as an intermediate knitter, sharing this journey with you guys and not being afraid of doing big projects, but also not being afraid of doing something simple like this. If you are looking for an easy beginner stockinette sweater, I think the step-by-step sweater tutorial by Handmade by Florence Florence. I love her channel. She's such an amazing resource for beginners, and she is just so inspirational because she really knows her color story. The caramel sweater is a turtleneck raglan sweater. It has a bit of positive ease, but not as much as her patterns usually do. It's designed to have 10 to 15 centimeters or 4 to 6 inches of positive ease, whereas a lot of Petiteknit sweaters will have like 20 to 25 centimeters of ease, I feel like. I am planning on knitting the size large, which will give me a finished bust circumference of 109 centimeters or 43 inches, which is about 9 centimeters of positive ease for me, or about 4 inches. This project is designed to be knit with a fingering weight yarn held with a mohair, but it can be substituted for a DK weight yarn, which is what I will be doing. So anyways, that's enough of talking. Let's get knitting. I am going to cast this bad boy on. I am so excited to start working with this beautiful yarn. Please let me know down in the comments what your New Year's or Christmas cast on is. I can't wait to hear about it. 2025 is going to be a year of beautiful knits, so I can't wait to share those with you. I am well into my turtleneck of the caramel sweater, and I've got a bit of a fun update. This was the most convoluted cast on I've ever done. I think I said that with the Jenny too, because I had to break the yarn after casting on all the stitches, but this takes the cake for the hardest cast on I've ever done, which is hilarious because I think I spent the entire first clip saying I wanted this to be an easy breezy knit, and here we are. But hopefully it's smooth sailing from here. However, this was an Italian cast on, which is basically a form of a ribbed cast on, but it's a 1x1 ribbed cast on, and you have to knit the turtleneck in 2x2 for the caramel sweater. And I was learning how to do the Italian cast on for the first time. My stitches kept getting all twisted, and I was trying to join it in the round, which was my first mistake. And I ended up finding a video from Petiteknit's website on how to do the Italian cast on. I need to start checking those things from Git instead of just like YouTubing a random tutorial for the technique I'm trying to do, because I was following a tutorial for the Italian cast on, but I wasn't following the one for this, and I didn't know how I was supposed to get from the 1x1 to the 2x2. Apparently, when you do the Italian cast on, you actually work a row back and forth before joining in the round at all. So it was worked flat for a couple rows, and there is, as you can see, there is a jog right here that I'm going to be able to seam closed with this tail. But I did this cast on literally 3.5 times, pretty much 4 times to be able to start. And I thought this was going to be a quick cast on because like your girl knows how to cast on now. Like when I cast on a project, I'm just boom, 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 and I'm on my way. This was a lot to learn, and I'm usually not afraid of learning, but I didn't want to have to learn so much with what I thought was just going to be a simple stockinette raglan sweater. And I should have known better because this is a 2x2 turtleneck. I should have known I would be doing a lot of ribbing before getting there. But I'm currently working on my Jenny jacket, which is nothing but 2x2 ribbing with some smock rows every certain so many rows. So jumping into something else that's just a ton of 2x2 ribbing is like, what was I thinking? But I'm having a great time. Like, it's so nice to work with this. I am enjoying my Jenny jacket and knitting that up. I just really want to have something simple for my hands that isn't so much ribbing. And here we are. And apparently I have 9 inches of this to do, and I'm about, I think, 2 or 3 inches in. But again, it's flying off the needles. I mean, it's a DK weight yarn. I'm having so much fun working on it. This yarn color is beautiful. So it's going to be a great time, and we'll be to the stockinette before we know it. But this cast on process was biting off a little more than I intended to chew at the time. I was sitting here knitting on this and realized I am going to look like Velma from Scooby-Doo in the best way wearing this, because she literally wears an orange turtleneck and wears glasses, and I'm gonna be so cute in this. But let's get back to knitting, and I can't wait to update you further on this project. I have just put my raglan stitch markers in place and am transitioning into knitting the stockinette, raglan, and German short rows. And I made the elective decision to trim off an inch on the turtleneck because I don't feel like I need my turtleneck to be a mile long. This is so long, it feels like. And when it's folded over, like, that's a really substantial turtleneck in my opinion. So I am pretty happy with that decision to go ahead and transition into working the body instead of doing 9 entire inches of ribbing. It just seems like a lot, and I'm not someone who needs a huge turtleneck. And so now I'm just going to be working my short rows and getting started on the body, and I'm so very excited. I feel like I've been doing this ribbing all day long. I literally have. It's just been a cozy Saturday vibe, but I just really am happy to get to the knitting portion. I am currently watching High Fiber Knits Everything I Knit in 2024, which is literally a 2-hour video, and I'm eating it up. I am living for everyone's versions of this video, but I'm gonna get back to knitting now.
you say, bud? Did you say big chickens?
Time for a very long overdue caramel sweater update. I can't believe how long it's been since I last talked to the camera about this one. I really just let it get away from me because I was working on it so quickly that I kept just being like, oh, I'll update at this milestone or whatever, and it just flew by. But as you can see, I am well into the body now. I have split for sleeves a long time ago. And I am several inches into the body. It's just flying off the needles. It has been so comforting to have something that I can work on, like literally at any point throughout the day. When my son is playing, I can pick it up and put it down very easily. And it's just a lot of fun to knit on. Also, can you believe that this is kind of my first time wearing my Salty Day sweater besides like wearing it for filming? I usually will take it off right after because it's summer here in Australia, but it's unseasonably cold and chilly this morning. So I'm wearing this for the first time, just getting it worn, and it's so exciting. But yes, the caramel sweater has been on the needles for just at 2 weeks now. It's quite portable. I have taken it to the zoo with us and knit on it while my son played at the playground. I took it on a little knitting date with a friend that I made at the Crafty Cinema here in Canberra, which was really fun. I worked on it and we chat for about 3 hours, so that was a really good knitting session I got in. It's always nice to be able to step out of mom mode and just go sit and knit and chat with another adult. This yarn is really nice to work with. I will say that there are very obvious times in which I'm knitting tighter than others, and it's not going to be noticeable once it blocks. I just noticed that sometimes I'm knitting a lot tighter, sometimes I'm knitting a lot looser. I wonder what I can do to kind of manage that and like get more even tension. But also, as far as the yarn goes, it is 50 gram balls, so I'm going to have a lot of ends to weave in. I have 12 balls of this, so I'm gonna have like 24 ends to weave in. So I think I should probably start trying to do that soon. Just at halfway through my yarn, if I remember correctly, because I just reached an end and I'm going to be putting on a new ball. I think this is my 6th ball, and this project has been really good for working on while watching shows or also listening to my audiobook. Let's talk about what I'm reading. So I am reading The Last of the Moon Girls by Barbara Davis. I am buddy reading this with my friend Mathilde from Nestled in Knits. She is a French beginner knitter sharing her knitting journey. She has a knitting podcast as well as makes knitting vlogs, much like myself. And we have bonded over our love for knitting and books and sharing in the journey together. So it's been really nice to pick out a book to buddy knit, to buddy read. Hopefully we can do a buddy knit soon too. That would be super fun. I have just reached chapter 9 and we're checking in like every 3 to 5 chapters and talking about our thoughts thus far. It has been really fun. So genre-wise, it is a magical realism fiction book that has romance and mystery. The summary is Lizzie Moon never wanted Moon Girl Farm. 8 years ago, she left the land that 9 generations of gifted healers had tended, determined to distance herself from the whispers about her family's strange legacy. Have to decide if she can accept her legacy see and whether to follow in the footsteps of all the moon women who came before her. I really love the vibes of it. It also touches on breaking generational curses, which if you know me, you know that it's really hard for me. And also the main character has a magical affinity for aroma. So if you also know much about me, I have shared that I owned a candle and aroma business in the United States. I made perfumes and candles. And so I just really love aromatherapy and think it's really cool that the main character has that affinity. And I really am enjoying the atmospheric writing style and especially the descriptions of aromas and scents. There is something about the first book I read of a year that just always blows me out of the water and somehow becomes like one of my favorites of the year. Last year it was The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. It was my favorite read of the year. It was the first thing I read last year and it was just amazing. I immediately reread it to be able to annotate my copy. I had read it on Kindle first and then I ordered a copy immediately and reread it to annotate that copy, and it was just such a special experience. I really treasured that book. This one is really reminiscent of that and Wayward, which is another 5-star read for me last year. It really brings those two books together, I feel like, but it's just so special to get to share this reading experience with a fellow reader and knitter all the way in France when I'm living here in Australia. And reading it on audiobook while knitting has been such an immersive, fun experience. Let me know down in the comments what you've been reading lately or if you have any reading goals for 2025. Mine last year was 24 books in 2024 and I did meet it. This year my goal is going to be 25. However, my main goal is to just continue reading more books that like hit on the tropes I really love and enjoy what I'm reading versus like trying to read a lot. I'm already knitting a lot, but another bookish intention of mine is to try to get to the library every month. I had a lot of fun taking my son last month. It was good for me to get comfortable driving here on the other side of the road and go to the library. I want to try to start checking books out more often, and that would be really nice to do this year. But yeah, overall, really loving this knit. I'm finding myself really amazed at how quickly it's working up. I didn't realize I could knit a basic sweater this quickly. I mostly tend to do textured cabled knitting, and at my fastest pace, usually my knits will take like 2 or so months. But like I said, I'm always working on multiple things at once. So it makes me curious, like how quickly I could knit a raglan sweater if it was the only thing I was knitting. Maybe that would be a fun video to do at some point throughout this year of just like knitting a sweater and seeing how quickly I can knit it. But yeah, 2 weeks on the needles and she's flying off the needles. I am on the sleeve of the caramel. I have completed the body as you saw and picked up stitches for the sleeve earlier this week. We're going to drive along the Great Ocean Road down in Victoria. It's going to be so beautiful. So I want to take you along that journey. And I'm of course also bringing along some knitting projects. The hope is to have this stockinette project to work on in the car ride and not have to like really pay attention too much besides doing the decreases down the sleeve. I think you guys saw, but I finished an entire sleeve while we were on the road. I actually did the majority of this sleeve in the first day, and I thought, oh, I didn't bring enough yarn with me because I finished that whole sleeve. But then I worked on the cuff very, very slowly because we were on those coastal roads. Here's how the cuff of the sleeve is looking, and I pretty much all but finished this before we got home, and I didn't want to try to do the bind off because I didn't remember how to do the 2x2 bind off in Italian. So I needed to get home and watch that tutorial so that I could bind off. But the whole first sleeve is complete on this, and now it just needs one more. I am hoping to finish this in February. cozy friends, the caramel sweater is complete. I actually finished this back in the beginning of March and it is now the end of April. But if you've been here, you'd know in between then and now we have moved house, and I've also made a video about struggling with my mental health in this time. So there's been a lot of hurdles that kept me from editing this vlog and sharing this finished knit, but I am so in love with it. I think it is just my color, and this yarn is to die for. I actually have 2.5 balls left of this. I only used 9.5 of the balls I purchased for my caramel sweater. Maybe I overestimated how much I would need, because this pattern was supposed to call for a fingering held with a mohair, but I just used one DK strand and it's so perfect. I absolutely love these long cuffs. The raglan is really cozy and like just the perfect amount of oversized, not too baggy on me. I'm really happy with my decision to shorten the turtleneck just a little bit. This yarn is just so luxurious. It is a combination of merino and silk, and it feels so nice on my skin. It's not itchy whatsoever. It is quite warm, but it really makes this the perfect fall knit. And the whole time I was working on this, I was dreaming of getting to wear it out in the fall leaves and take photos in the autumn leaves. And I got to. It is autumn here in Australia right now, and I've been wearing this as much as I can. I'm so glad I got it ready by fall. I actually finished it a little bit before fall and tried to wear it a bit too early and would be sweating by midday. I will say I can already notice some pilling from how much I've worn it, which I think is to be expected with the fiber content. Merino is quite soft and can pill. Let me know in the comments if that is not typical of merino, but I do think this yarn would be even better held with a mohair, but I love it the way it is. It's just so soft and delicate. This feels very light and drapey. That is my favorite part about it, is how it drapes. But man, is it funny to be watching the footage back of this vlog and see how far I've come and how much has changed during the time that has elapsed over the course of this vlog. I started this with a Christmas tree behind me in our last house, and now we are completely moved. We have all new furniture because that place was a rental. I have a whole video answering a bunch of questions about why we moved. But yeah, we're in a new space now, and I'm feeling a lot better mentally than where I was then as well, which is great. I really did enjoy this mindless knit, and I will say that the cast on and the bind offs were the trickiest part of this knit. And there's also German short rows if you've never done that before, but other than those details, this was a very breezy, fun knit. I worked up almost an entire sleeve, I think, during the drive down to the southern coast of Victoria, which was really cool. It was special to get to take this on that vacation and have those memories just knitted into the sweater. During our first walkthrough of this new house, I was also wearing this sweater, so it just feels like there's a lot of special memories with this sweater. I would definitely knit with this yarn again. I really, really love it. I think the fiber content is lovely. And I really did enjoy knitting the 2x2 ribbing on the cuffs. I know I was complaining about it a lot with the turtleneck because I just wanted to get to the raglan yoke, but overall, this sweater is really fun to knit up. It's quite, I'd say it's perfect for an adventurous beginner. As long as you're interested in learning a new cast on and some German short rows, it is definitely something you can accomplish. All in all, this project was on the needles for 64 days, which I think is not that bad. It definitely could have been faster if it was the only thing I worked on, but I am never a monogamous knitter. I love to have stockinette side whips and then cabled long-term knits. And as far as cost, I bought 12 balls of this and only used 9.5. I spent $94 US on the 12 balls. So if I can find something else to use the other 2.5 balls for, then I actually only spent $74 US on this sweater. And I think that that's a decent amount of yarn. That's about 150 grams I can use to make a beanie or a little scarf. So there's definitely options to use the rest of this yarn for. And I think that for a merino silk turtleneck sweater that is just perfect for me and sized perfectly to my body, I think that is worth 75 US dollars. But I do like to talk about cost because it's something that we don't always include in these project videos, and I think it's valuable because knitting can feel so inaccessible sometimes. And sure, I wouldn't go to the store and spend $75 on this sweater if it was on the rack, especially if it was machine made, but I got to enjoy the process of knitting this, as well as knowing that this is a quality fiber and will stand the test of time and be a beautiful piece in my wardrobe. So I really think that that is worth the cost, and there's definitely yarns that you can use for a pattern like this that are a lot cheaper, and there's also yarns that would be a lot more expensive. So it is a spectrum. Knitting is a hobby that you can do on any budget. I truly believe that. So I hope that information is helpful to you in some way in demystifying the cost of the materials that go into this. Obviously, there's other costs like knitting needles and things like that, but those are really a one-time investment. I have bought an entire interchangeable knitting needle set that works for all my projects, so I obviously don't include that in the cost. And the pattern was already in my knitting library, so I didn't have to buy it for this project, but I think it retails for like $7 US. I'll correct myself on the screen if I am wrong. So that would obviously bring the total for this sweater up to about $82. But I also caught this yarn on a sale, which is something I frequently do with my stash to try to save on my hobby. So I will put on the screen how much it would cost to replicate this knit if you didn't have the yarn or pattern in your stash and were buying it at retail cost. This is the price that it would be to replicate. And this was my first finished garment of the year, besides a pair of socks I finished prior to finishing this one. And I think it's funny to see me talking about some of my intentions for the new year, and also realize that this is the first thing off my Make 9 from 2025, which is really cool. It makes me feel like I'm off to a good start. So I'd love to hear down in the comments if you have completed any of your Make 9 knits, or if you are working on them, because we've now reached the end of the first quarter. Do you feel like you're achieving your knitting intentions for this year? Really couldn't be happier with this knit, and I want to thank you so much for watching the journey of this project. I know it was a bit all over the place, from me knitting the majority of it in a couple weeks to putting it on pause and then knitting the sleeves in a couple days and then not showing the finished object for a couple months. But either way, I hope you really enjoyed this project vlog, and I want to thank you so much for spending your knitting time with me. If you're not already, make sure you tap subscribe so you don't miss future cozy videos, and don't forget to do something that helps you unravel. Bye guys!